Thank you for having me here. I flew from New Zealand, and of course you know that we cross a date line, but I had to fly back into the past. So
it's yesterday for you right now?
Or tomorrow. But yes, it's interesting. It's May Day in New Zealand, and I want to reflect also on a personal experience, because before the Queen made me a dame, I had been a sex worker for a number of years, and it was May Day that I was also released from a court on a soliciting charge for sex work-related activities. So, but my role really in New Zealand has been to lead on the sex worker issue and to take the contract with the Ministry of Health, which we've sustained for 30-odd years, to lead the response to important issues related to HIV prevention, sexual and reproductive health rights and so on, as well as now in a post-decriminalised situation. New Zealand decriminalised sex work in 2003. We take the responsibility to ensure that sex workers have a relationship with government agencies, etc. So we broker a lot of relationships there with our contract with the Ministry of Health. They resource us, and I have to say I can reflect on 17 years of criminalisation and 17 years of decriminalisation, and we have a lot of evidence that we've gathered out of both of these different contexts. If you have a study commission, as everyone's explained before me, you will gather all that evidence as well, and it will deliver some kind of situation you can reflect on and project into your future response to sex workers. What we found was that we set up a committee after decriminalisation to review the impact of the legislation on the occupational safety and health and the rights of sex workers. And on that committee we had a chair who had been a police commissioner, we had a Catholic nun, we had 3 representatives who were sex workers. You get the picture, it was eclectic. The opinions were diverse. We had people who had opposed decriminalisation of sex work as well. And as a committee, it had to come to some kind of consensus and deliver a report back into the Parliament. The consensus at the end of that time was that they wouldn't roll back the clock. The recommendation was to keep decriminalisation. However, political waves come and go, and there was a petition from people who were unhappy with decriminalisation. So there was another select committee that examined the issue again in the context of understanding the Swedish model, which, as we all know, is at, Sweden's at the opposite end of the globe to New Zealand, and similarly on this issue, it opposes what we've done in our country and recommends a very different approach. Well, the Select Committee on that occasion examined very carefully what the Swedes had recommended, prosecution of clients, criminalisation, that kind of model, and rejected it. But the point I'm really trying to make is that there's nothing scary about examining, about having committees to look at these very tense issues, to bring in all the different kinds of points of view. So I strongly support this recommendation, and I hope that you have a successful outcome from it. And thank you for allowing me, someone who comes from the future, to speak.